Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are so delighted at the NJSO to be able to have you participate in a masterclass today. I'm Joanna Borowski. For those who don't know me, I'm Director of Education, and I work on the Education and Community Engagement team along with Judy. We're partners in crime. And I'm also delighted because some of you students, I've seen you play at some of the Sistema New Jersey Alliance events. So it is such a pleasure to get to see you in this one-on-one format and really get to hear you dig in and play and listen and learn some new concepts, hopefully. And also we really want you to have a good time with this. This is here totally for your benefit, and we're glad to do it. We're also glad to have Andy Lamy with us today. In addition to being in the symphony, Andy also coaches in our youth orchestra program. And he will tell you more about himself, but I also want to welcome Miss Shanna, who's here and is such an important part of the New Jersey Sistema Alliance as our coordinator. So thank you, Shanna, for everything you did to get our students here today. And hello to Miss Dana and any other teachers who are here on the call. And with that, I'll kick it over to Andy to now that we have our group here.
Really good to see you guys. This is really exciting, and I appreciate you having me here. And we'll be flexible. I am not sure what it is that we're going to talk about until we're talking about it, but I will say that I'm a real geek. I'm such a woodwind person that I actually make woodwind instruments in my basement. I make birdsong whistles. Let's see, I've got owl whistles with carved finial slides. I've got wood thrush whistles that have little tiny tone holes, just like a tin whistle. And I make hundreds of instruments. I'm also a clarinetist, and I play Irish traditional music. I play recorder. And since we've been in the lockdown, I've been making a lot of multi-track Pretorius recordings, like recorder choir recordings with like 7, 8, 9 voices, because they're really fun and I never get to play that music normally. So I love the recorder. And I also love Irish traditional music, and I play this tin whistle. So if you're a flutist or a clarinetist, you may have come across a tin whistle before. Often they look they're just like silver with a red or blue plastic. Has anyone seen those in the music store? It's just a little whistle with holes in it, and it's got a plastic head joint on it, right? Well, I just want you to know those are real musical instruments, and I'm going to play one for 10 seconds just to show you what I mean. So they're a lot of fun, and people really dance to that kind of music. So I've traveled a lot, Ireland, Scotland, England, Europe, other Africa, playing tin whistle and clarinet and recorders, and it really opens doors. And even when I'm hanging out with Zulu tribesmen who dance and sing and don't speak English well, we can play an instrument together and really communicate. And that's why I just think it's great to do what you guys are doing, because you're going to lead a musical life. And your instrument is part of that, okay? So I'm here to help with that. Joanna, Judy, did we have an idea of the order people would play? Okay, look, I want to tell you something. It's very hard to do what you guys are going to do. You're playing in public. I'm a complete stranger, and completely strange also. But I just want you to know that I'm on your side, seriously. You're going to play some notes, and it's going to be scary, and it'll be one of the scariest things you've done there in your little house for a while. Me in my house, you know, my dogs, you know, nibble on me. That's the scariest thing. But when I have to play online, whoa, I have to put on my best shirt and be seen and heard. And that takes guts. So congratulations for doing this. And we will be constructive, and we'll teach you right from where you are. Who's going first?
Okay, so we have Jean-Vier, who's going first. Can his teacher, if someone from his school is here who wants to introduce themselves? And
Now, I've heard people say Javier and Xavier. How do you say your name?
My name is pronounced John Vier.
John Vier. Okay. Oh, okay. Now I'm looking at an Xavier over here in this square, but yours is Jean Vier. That's clear now. Caldero, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome. Have you got your silver-colored tube with holes in it?
No,
What have you got?
fortunately. I have this flute.
That's beautiful. It's got holes in it. Perfect. Yeah. What are you going to play? What would you like to do?
I'm going to play On Track by Carmen.
Beautiful. You know, have you heard the original of that? The way the flute and the clarinet interplay with each other?
Yeah,
It's beautiful. All right, well, go for it.
thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Really, really good. That's a favorite of mine. I played that when I was an undergraduate student in California and got to play both second clarinet and first clarinet on that. And when I went to Europe, I was playing, I was busking on the streets with a recorder. And that was one of the things I liked to play. So, first of all, it sounds to me like you have listened to a recording of this. Yes, you have. And I want to just tell everyone, that's where it's at. I mean, I know he has the dots. Have you got the sheet, the printed paper of that? The physical printed paper? Show it to everyone. Show them the dots. Show us the dots. Hold it up close to the screen. Can you guys hear the dots? Can you hear them? No. That's because Jean Vier made those dots audible. He made them into music. We heard that. And it wasn't enough to just read the paper. I want you all to be good reading musicians. That's great. But personally, I think music is learned by ear. 100% by ear. The style, everything about it. And you can learn to read music so that all that learning you did by ear can just come out like your sight reading. But that was really nice, Jean-Vier. What I would say is push yourself over time to get gigantic breaths and then make the most of your sound. Get as much tone and as long a line out of each tank full, each lung full of air that you can, so that you can fulfill the original slur markings. Because I heard some good slurs, but I also heard most of the phrases were sort of cut short with a little helper breath somewhere along the way, a little unplanned stop for extra gas. So your next level will come from practicing. You might even try it playing it over tempo, you know, so that you can play the original slurs and the original breath marks, like just play it a third faster than it belongs, just as an exercise, just to get your air going and to practice only breathing where you're supposed to. And then trying to push yourself. Play it the way it's printed at the slow tempo. Take a gigantic, quiet breath and so on clarinet, like oboe, we have lots of air. We can't even get rid of all of our air in time. But on the flute and the saxophone and other instruments, we blow a phrase and it just wastes our air. It takes so much air to play a short phrase. So try doing it different ways, Janvier, so that you can fulfill those markings the way they are. You know something else you did that I really liked? The feel of your grace note pairs. They were in the right place. A lot of people, watch out for this. A lot of people, they'll see the grace notes on the page and they get all flustered and they forget to place the main structural notes in the right spots. But you tucked them in really nicely. You kept the main beat and you just let those grace notes fit in. So that was great. So would you like to play it again for a minute? My suggestion would be maybe take a still a proper performance tempo, but let's go one notch faster just while you're learning to get through the phrases. So more andante mosso, more fast, and try to make the phrases the way they are. And then you can have a little air left over to color with a little, okay?
Okay.
And we don't have to play the whole thing if you don't want. But
Okay. I'll play until measure 7.
yeah, sounds good. Yeah, okay. Very good. Really very good. So look, the day will come when you can play that more slowly and you can experiment with velvety colors and different vibrato speeds and make it really liquid. But for now, that was already better. Also, I like your triplet rhythms. Those are good. Now, you made that upslur. Let me just check this. Was it to an F to a C? Is that correct? That big upslur?
Mm-hmm.
And you decided to tongue it, probably for safety and clarity, right? Do you think I could hear you make that as a slur one time? F, C, F, C. Feed air to the bottom note so that the higher note can just float out, like you're releasing a dove gently.
FC? Oh, FE.
So it's do, re, fa, mi, re, do, so. Let me see. Let me see. Oh no. See, I'm sorry. I'm reading off of a very tiny part because I can't expand. Let's see. Preview. Got it. E flat, B flat. E flat, B flat. E flat, B flat. That's what I want to hear as a slur, please. E flat, B flat. I was thinking clarinet. Excellent. So play the top note for me. We want it to sound not harsh, but strong enough. Da, mezzo. Da.
Wait, the B
Just-
flat?
Yeah, the top note, the B flat. Nice. Now, play the bottom note, maybe hold it for 2 counts, and when you're about to play the top note, crescendo a little, and then relax as you arrive on the top note. So it sounds like this. And you get a gentle beginning to the upper note.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you got a voice in your mind. Know where that note lives in your tongue and have a high tongue. Do it again. Excellent. That sounded beautiful. And I think for safety's sake, when you played the phrase before, you tongued the upper note because maybe you were afraid it wouldn't come out, wouldn't speak. But your next level of achievement is to play this with the slurs that are printed, because that's a lyrical vocal. It's not a ta-ta like a march. This is a song. Okay? Okay, we want to get that honey dripping feeling, because that's where it's at. And next time you go back and listen to a recording, listen for that. Listen to how they play with the sound, okay? Now, let's move forward, and if there's time to circle back, we can. Was that the one thing you were going to play, Jean-Pierre?
Yeah.
Is that good? Was this helpful?
Yeah, very helpful.
I mean, you did it. I know you played it safe before, but you did it. This is great. Thank you, everybody.
Great job.
Thank you for having me.
You're so professional. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Oh, so next we have.
He's already invoicing us for his.
Sorry, I'm trying to look for the list. Yvonne, is that right? Who's next?
Yeah.
There you are.
Hello, Yvonne.
Hi.
Yvonne, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm Yvonne, and I'm gonna be playing the Messiah by the Grave and the Messiah by Handel.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna just see if that is here among my. Yes, I do. I did find it.
Go ahead. You're good.
Okay. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So I guess you are compelled to notice that it's a violin part when it sends you down onto the G string momentarily, right? You went down below the range of the flute. But I'm glad you played this. It's really nice. In the Baroque period, does everyone know what I mean by the Baroque period? The Baroque period of classical music. Classical symphonic music is this umbrella term, and then there's a classical period which overlaps with the Baroque. And a lot of the Baroque composers and the classical composers knew each other. It's just that some had flip phones and others had iPhone 10s. And it was very much like that now. Does anyone know someone with a flip phone? Some of the coolest people I know are flip phone people. All right. So if it were 1760, if it were the year 1760, you would have a bunch of iPhone 10 future users all around Europe. And you would have had flip phone people and people with dial telephones at the same time. And that's how the Baroque period transitioned into the classical period. And Yvonne, I think you chose really nicely with this piece. I love this stuff. And at that time, violinists would play flute music and flutists would play violin music, and recorder players would also get in on the act and steal some of this. Recorder players were fighting for their lives to not be replaced by the traverso, the transverse sideways flutes, which were suddenly playing with bigger sounds, okay? So, Yvonne, if you'll permit, I don't know if everyone can see this or not. Does everyone get a chance to see his music? Did you guys share widely so that you can view online?
I tried to post on chat, but it doesn't let me. So
Okay.
unfortunately, we can't do that. Sorry.
So first of all, I'm playing this on soprano recorder. So I read it, but it all sounds up an octave, just like piccolo. Any flute players out there, you'll have that experience where the piccolo parts are printed just the way a flute part would be printed, and you think the same way about the fingerings, but when you actually play the instrument, it sounds an octave higher. You knew that, right? Everybody? Okay. So soprano recorder is the same way. I was just playing Yvonne's music, and Yvonne gets bonus points right off the bat. Number one, for choosing something gorgeous. Number two, your double dotting was very nice. So it was very nice. D, da, 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 da. Now, I do something called overdotting almost all the time. Almost every period of music, you overdot, which is when a composer wants a quick snapping dot, they almost always want something a little later than a perfect 25% of a beat. So if you see a dotted 8th and 16th, almost always, there's a trumpety, fanfare-ish, martial, da, da, da. So da, 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 la piccolo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, da, la piccolo, da, 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 da. I'm not double dotting, I'm over dotting. So instead of 75, 25, I'm making it like 79 and, 20. So that double dot you're doing, I would overdot it even slightly more. So don't just be accurate, but get a little bit of a snap in it. Okay, I'm going to show you that. Also, in a grave, start your trills slower and accelerate them. Generally in Baroque music, which this is, start from the upper note, generally, which technically is actually a normal trill plus an appoggiatura, an upper note grace note, which becomes tied into the trill. So it's called a preparatory note. So I'm going to show you a couple trills that accelerate. So I'm going to play line 2. Okay, there was a trill. Did you notice how I started it from the upper note and then accelerated into the full speed of the trill?
Yeah.
Okay, but the first note itself is actually like a 16th practically. And then there's a whole bunch of iffy acceleration stuff. You practically need calculus if you were going to map it out exactly, but we musicians can just do that by feel. Now, if you're playing fast music, a trill in fast music will get a prep also but it all happens much quicker. So the listener doesn't perceive the acceleration into the full speed of the trill in fast music. But in the grave like this, definitely. Let us feel that, okay? So that's one piece of low-hanging fruit that you can do. I'm gonna take a pass with you. I'll have you slightly over dot. So a double dot should be like, you know, it should be 7/8 the long note double dotted and 1/8 the short note, but we're gonna go a little past that. We're gonna slightly over dot. Let's see what else there is on this. If you'll forgive me. Okay. Have you worked your way into the Allegro moderato, Ivan?
Yeah, but I was just gonna play the Broadway. My teacher.
Yeah, we don't have to do any of that. I don't want to, but maybe. Just so you know, we would put a fast shake on a trill like that, also starting from above. Etc. Okay, so yeah, let me hear this from the beginning, and let me hear maybe a little vibrato in the long notes. Can you do a little bit of a vibrato in the long notes? He. And I'm slightly over dotting. Okay, let's hear a little bit of that. Otra vez. Oh, we lost that. Did we lose him entirely? Nope, he just moved. Signal problem, did anyone else lose him?
He's back.
Oh, there we are. Okay, I just wanted you to try something with those. I heard the acceleration of that first trill really clearly, but I want you to start the trill from the upper note. So if it's an F sharp trill, actually start on a G. If it's an A to B trill, start on the B. Good, don't back up too far. Let's just go from after the dotted 8th and 16th, where you have ta-ta, ta-e, right on second line, pick up into measure 3 of second line. Then we get sample those 2 trills, started from the top. Nice. Okay, Yvonne, let me interrupt you there. This is really good. So I want you to just understand the values of these trills and be bold about starting slower. I like that they have 30-second notes written, because those little pairs of 30-second notes, like, I wanted to be in your octave, so I picked up the tenor recorder. Just want you to notice that when I go from the full speed trill into those 30 seconds, that I go to half tempo from where I was trilling. So my actual trill is at 64th speed. Can you hear it? Can you hear that jump down quantum leap from? So that's it. So the first note you play starting the trill is also a 30-second. So be bold about that. Be bold about starting with a clear upper note that is at a slower value than the actual max speed of the trill, okay?
Sorry to interrupt. 1 minute.
Okay, well, let's give him a round of applause and thank you. I hope this was helpful. But again, listen, I mean, you can only learn so much from the sheet music. Really, you learn from an artist playing. There are some great recorder players online. I know some great ones. So, all right, who we got?
All right, so next up is Xavier. Xavier, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hello, Xavier.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Let's see. Who's the teacher for Xavier? Anyone wants to speak and introduce themselves before Xavier takes over and perform for us? If not, go ahead and do you want to introduce yourself, Xavier?
Okay. My name is Xavier. I'm going to be playing Bluebells of Scotland on the clarinet.
Okay, I like Scottish music. All right. That brings back some memories for me. Yeah. Thank you. Very, very good. So this is not a situation where like the flutist who played rep that is going to be recorded online, where you can go and listen on YouTube to Neapolitan opera performance of the tune. But it should be, because it's a great tune, you know. So you have one dotted rhythm in there, right? I don't have the sheet music in front of me because I didn't want to take time. But you went da, da, da. Is there a dotted rhythm there?
I'm not completely sure because I have the sheet music, but it's in my photos, and I don't really have. Yeah.
Did you just play from memory?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. How many bonus points are we going to give him for that? 2? Is that worth 2 bonus points? I'll give you 2. All right. So I agree. I don't have the sheet music in front of me either. And I believe that folk music like this should be learned by ear anyway and played from memory. So let's see. That's a hard key on recorder. I'm not going to play it in E flat on a tenor recorder. I'm going to be crazy and pick up a clarinet. Played twice, then to the B part, the high part, as they call it in Ireland and Scotland. But you did. Right? That's where I thought there was a dotted rhythm. Am I right to think that there's a D, da, da, dotted rhythm there? I could look it up. I have it.
I don't
Okay,
think so.
let's just go by ear. Let's just agree that there's a dotted rhythm there, okay? I just wanted you to keep the overall tempo because I felt when you were playing that when you went, you just hesitated for a split second. And so that the dancers who were dancing along to your bagpipe playing in that moment, they tripped. They tripped.
Okay.
Just right there in that moment. So we just want to keep a nice steady rhythm. So now, almost every time you have a dotted 8th and 16th or a dotted quarter and an 8th that is not slurred, the one that is articulated, the dotted note will decay slightly, like a bell that you've rung or a harp string that you've plucked. It'll get softer before the little dotted note comes back. So instead of, that would be really flavorless. Anyone ever served you soup before that had no salt in it? And you're like, oh, this is really delicious. Please pass the salt. If you play tongued dotted rhythms without decay, that's what you're serving your listeners.
Oh.
It's soup with no salt in it, which is very, very healthy, but probably nobody wants to eat it. So let's put a little bounce. You hear that ding, 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 ding. We do it naturally when we sing. Listen, sing happy birthday and listen to yourself. Happy birthday, bouncy, bouncy, bounce, boing, boing, boing. You can hear it. When music has that medium tempo to it, it usually has a nice bounce, okay? Do you hear the little bit of bounce? I'm kind of going stronger, and then every note sort of tapering off a little like a Hershey's Kiss shape or a dolphin, maybe dolphin-shaped notes, if you will. Now here's another thing. Could you hold your clarinet up to the camera like this so that I can see the space between the barrel and the upper joint? The space between the barrel and the upper joint. Okay. I was going to guess that you were not pulled out there at all. You were pushed in 100%. Was I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you get a clarinet from the store, when it comes from the factory, they are generally, they have barrels on them that are a little too short. Most clarinets are designed like they're French system clarinets, and they're designed to play like A442 or A443. And then they're like, oh, these students, they don't know how to make a sound. Let's put extra short barrels in their cases. And then the band director won't have impossibly flat clarinet players everywhere. And then once your embouchure develops, like yours already has so nicely, then everyone plays really sharp. So what you have your throat register, your throat A, they're very, very sharp in pitch. So you were playing along just fine at about 442 in pitch. And then suddenly your A sounded like a B flat and your B flat sounded like a B natural, like really sharp. Okay? So to fix this, there are several things you can do and you'll sound better with yourself. One easy fix that will get you part of the way there is if you pull out between the barrel and mouthpiece, or barrel and upper joint in this case, about 1 millimeter. It leaves a gap inside the inside of the bore, which will flatten the throat register notes more than the rest of the clarinet. So suddenly it'll make it flatter. Let's try that. You pulled out a little bit, like so you could stick a quarter in there minimum, not a dime, a quarter. Not 2 quarters. Okay, and let me hear F-A. That interval. Mine's flat now because I didn't need to pull. Try it. F.
Wait. Oh, wait.
F, A, do, mi.
Wait.
Yes. Okay. So already you can hear physically your clarinet is ready to play the G concert, the throat A, at a lower pitch. And that needs to happen. Also, we want to get pitch stability in general. So you want to keep your head level, take less lip over your teeth. People, we all tend to put too much lower lip over our teeth when we're playing the clarinet, but that works against our intonation. and it makes high notes very flat and very impossible to play or control. So your teacher is going to bug you to keep your head level, like you're looking at the top of the doorway across the room, and then to take less lip over your teeth, and then to keep these muscles really firm and rubbery, not like a feather pillow, but firm, rubbery, like a pencil eraser, okay? Check it out. Then you get pitch stability within each note instead of where the jaw or the softness of the mouth is moving around. So that will really help. Now, this book drives me crazy because nothing is slurred in this book. And clarinetists should learn how to slur. But while we're at it, we want to do that. Okay, so will you do that, Xavier? Will you play again through the tune? And from memory, if you will. And keep your head level, like you're looking at the door frame across the room. And take less, just a little less lower lip. And keep your tonguing nice and light and clean. Dee, dee. Say that for me. Dee, 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 dee.
Dee, 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 dee.
Right. That really light tongue contact on the reed and on the gums will get you a nice connection of the notes. If I tongue with a soft, wide tongue, I'll get a slap tongue. And it's not quite as pretty. So what I want to do is point my tongue like a pinky instead of a big fat thumb. I want to point my tongue and just nick the reed very lightly. Can you hear a difference? That's your goal. So play the tune again. Head level, less lip, firm here, and dee, dee, dee. Okay, let's hear it. Nice. Better tuning, really. So start C, F.
Oh, okay.
From the beginning. Very good. So do you ever record yourself, Xavier? Do you record yourself? I would like you to borrow a phone that has a little memo recorder in it and keep saying dee, 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 dee. Maybe make a video. Watch yourself in the mirror. Make sure nothing's moving or chewing. And so that you get from to just a little lighter tongue every day. A little lighter contact. We don't want to have a lot of surface area of our tongue touching the reed. Just 2 taste buds. That'll do it. Okay. Thank you very much. I really like that. And I love that you played that from memory. Love it.
Thank you.
Great job, Xavier. That was awesome. So
Thank you.
next up, we have Violet.
Hello, Violet.
There you are. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you're playing?
Hi, my name is Violet, and I am playing Sonata in F major, Telemann by George Philip.
Georg Philipp Telemann. So do you know his dates that he lived?
1681 to 1787.
Okay, so 1681 to 1787. What kind of 18th century iPhone would he have had? Was he more Baroque or was he more classical? Just based on his dates, what do you think? Classical was the later one.
I think he was.
This guy is the Baroque period. He is the Baroque period. And I think he's probably one of the 10 most important Baroque composers. And I only put him in the top 10 because there are 9 others that are really epic and big. So can't leave them off. But this guy made musical puzzles all the time. He could write duets where, have you guys seen the canonic sonatas where you play one piece of music and then you can harmonize with it on the spot? Have you seen that? It's really brilliant. Judy's heard it because we play that, Henry and I play that on our show. That's one of the Telemann canonic sonatas. Okay, so very good. I'm eager to hear this. I'm just gonna flip to your music here while we go. And I'm ready.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Can we just look at that section together first? Can we do that? Very good. So, anyone know what instrument this is? Can someone tell me? I'll give you a clue. This is the kind of recorder that you normally play in grade school. Anyone know what this instrument is here? This is the instrument that would have played that sonata. It's called an alto recorder. It's just a recorder, but it's in F. So if I play what I think is a C on the alto recorder, it comes out as an F. I just finger a C, okay? So first of all, I love Telemann. I love it. And I can't get enough of it. So I'm just sight reading this right now, but I just want to point out a couple things. This is a great thing for you to be playing. This is just the perfect thing, Violet, for you, because it's fast technical music that sounds good slow. It really does. So what I would do myself is I would, instead of taking it in 4/4, I would put my metronome on a slightly faster eighth note. Like maybe, here's 104 for the eighth note. Can you guys hear that tick? Can you hear that tick? Okay, so I'm gonna start learning this piece of music, Violet, just like you. And I'm gonna have 8 clicks per bar instead of 4. And I'm gonna make them moderate and slow so that I have time. And I'm gonna still try to make the music as pretty as I can, even though it's slow. Because as my teacher, Mitchell Lurie, used to say, the fastest way to learn music is slowly. So here I go. So I'm going to play 8th note per click. So notice one thing. When I play a quarter note, that gets 2 clicks because I'm in 8 instead of 4. When I play 16ths, those are kind of like 8th notes now because I'm in half time. So notice something. When I play a group of 4 16ths and they're followed by a weak beat short note like these are in fast music, the slur ends short. So instead of, I'm going to make the A short. So it'll match the short notes that follow it. You hear that? So the short clipped off slur ending kind of prepares the way for the staccatos that follow. It kind of frames them up nicely. Does that make sense, Violet? Okay, so I don't want you guys, any of you, I don't want any of you to think that playing music very slowly is a punishment or that it's for players who are less advanced. Trust me, this is what pros do. The hallmark of a pro, the hallmark of a professional, the way you really know someone is a professional is they'll take difficult, fast music like this. Violet picked something very, very challenging, and they'll play it slowly, and they'll get every detail right. Just in the same way that a professional architect will make a blueprint of a building before building it, and it will be on rolls of paper that can fit in their arms, but they can't hug the whole building. They're going to do the preparation and the proportion all in a size that can fit in their hands. Okay? So in music, our blueprint notion is taken care of by a slower metronome beat. Okay? Then you know everything's there. All right. So I love this. I could also play this on the clarinet if you want, except to play it in the original key, I'll have to take everything up a step and add 2 sharps to it because I'm a B flat clarinet. So instead of C, F, F, D, C, I'm going to have to think of D, G, G, E, D. Okay, so just dynamics-wise, they played terraced dynamics in this period, and so that's why you'd tend to do everything one dynamic, and then suddenly on the echo, you'd go softer. And you can kind of see that here. They have terraced dynamics set up. You know, forte, then mezzo forte. Your whole section is one dynamic or another. Okay. So, how long have you been working on this piece, Violet?
I actually learned this over Zoom call, right as PMP started going to the Zoom calls.
Okay.
And showed me this piece, and I started playing it.
You like it? I love this one. Do you like this also?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
At first, I thought it was really hard, but then I actually started playing it, and it got easier.
Right. Well, you know, it actually is really hard. It's just your skills are growing. And so sometimes when someone does something and it sounds easy, it's not because it's easy. It's because their skills are growing. So do you have a metronome that's separate from the device we're talking on?
No.
Okay. Well, listen, when you get one, will you please try what I'm suggesting? It's not for dummies. This slow 8th note click idea it's a very advanced idea, and it's a very professional way of approaching the music. Do you want to, if you want, I can just play this click for you and let you play. This is at 8th equals 100. Let me turn it up. I won't, I don't think we'll all hear the click with your music though. So why don't you just try it without the metronome, but give me a nice slow beat from the beginning. So give me bop, 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 be up, bop, 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 be up, bop, bop, bop. Am I in the right key? Sorry. Okay, go from the top. 1, 1, 2, ready, yeah. Absolutely. One more time now, and I want you to try with that slur 2, tongue 2, 16th group. I'd like you to try clipping the first one. Okay. D, up, da, da. One more time from the top. 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's pause there a minute. Let's pause there. It's very, very good. So my suggestion is that you play piano on those Bs, that B natural C. You're doing a bounce to G. We call that a bounce to G when you're going. So your revenge over the recorder is that you can actually play dynamics. Recorders can't. All we can do is mess with dynamics. So a recorder player, since they can only play one dynamic, we would play probably shorter on one and then longer on the echo, like this. Maybe. Like that. To try to make a dynamic contrast, we change it a little bit. Okay, now I heard one thing I'm gonna ding you on, and everyone, I'm gonna ding everyone on this, including me. We try, when we're practicing, we sometimes stop to correct. But you have to, when you're practicing, you have to have a little contract with yourself that you're gonna do a run through that is absolutely continuous. It's a little bit like playing with model trains, you know? You can't stop in the middle of a run or you'll train wreck the whole thing. You want to just agree to keep going. I might play, and I have my students do this all the time. If they play a wrong note and keep going without losing time, I give them a bonus point afterwards. And bonus points are redeemable for laughs and good times. But if I'm there, I played a wrong note, oops, but I gotta scramble and keep going. Gotta learn to improvise around it. Most of your practicing should be a combination of either very short practice of a very specific section that's difficult or a run through to test it out. So I'm gonna say that's a hard bar you were just playing. So for me, I'm going to just practice nothing but that bar for a minute. Just break it into a beat. Break it into multiple beats. Okay, and then I'll do a practice run through, and no matter what happens, I will not permit myself to stop or repeat. I call it playing the game. Now, believe it or not, I broke those high notes because my thumbnail is too long. And look how short it is. When you play recorder, if you're serious about recorder, you have to actually learn to pinch in with the thumb. And so you have to clip your thumbnail like almost twice a day to do it. And I haven't done that yet today. But,
Wow, sorry.
there, but that's it. So Violet, I hope you get something out of this. If you would practice having run-throughs where you don't stop and correct. Just make yourself keep going. And then between run-throughs, if something didn't go well, go back and look at it like I did, a beat at a time, 2 beats at a time. And practice that, memorize it, do it 10 times from memory with your eyes closed, and then go back and do your run-through, but don't let yourself stop and correct. If you play a wrong note, the improvising and faking that you do to get back on the beat without losing the 4/4, that is actually really valuable playing experience. Okay?
Okay. I only played half of what I knew today.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's good. I always feel like I'm having to learn the clarinet as I go to teach my students because I'm trying to keep up with them. So I know that feeling. I'm always a half a lesson ahead of my students. So everybody, please give it up for Violet. I think she's got some beautiful stuff there, and she has a taste for Telemann, which is a great thing. Thank you, Violet.
Great job. That was awesome.
Who's on the hot seat now?
Let's see. Where'd she go? There she is. Yarszi, is that right? I'm sorry if I'm still pronouncing your name incorrectly. So beautiful. Can you pronounce it for me?
So, my name is Jesse, and I'm going to play exercise 5 and 9.
Okay, it was a little muffled. Let me mute myself out. Just tell me again what you're playing, please.
I'm playing exercise 5 and 9. There. Okay. I can't hear them.
Andy, we can hear you. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, this is in the Rubank book, right? Can you give me a page number and a line? I want to track along with you and really think along with you.
It just says, I'm not sure.
There a page, you said 5 through 9 exercises, but every page has 5 through 9 on it, so.
Is it page 6, Yuretsi? I can't remember what Mr. Dan told me.
I don't know. It just says quarter notes and then lesson 4.
Okay. All right. Well, I like the. So I'm hearing. right? Play that one again. Yeah, that one.
The one that has, wait, hold up.
I'm not on your page yet. So can you give me which lesson number it is?
That was lesson 4.
Oh, lesson 4. Okay, that helps. Got it. Okay. And you started 5, line 5? How about line 6 of lesson 4? Can you play that for me?
Okay.
Okay, no worries. You know what? Actually, I know you're frustrated by a couple squeaks, but believe me, your sound is beautiful. So we just have to stabilize things a little tiny bit. Not a big deal. It won't take long to figure this out. If you would, first of all, probably the stability of holding the instrument is one issue. You may have missed a tone hole. Like when you went E, C, there may have been a finger just missing the tone hole slightly. So just play that first measure for me again and think carefully about going E, C with that double finger drop. Yaretsi? And be careful for your aim. Just make sure you really settle into the tone holes. Let me hear that again. C, E, C. Yeah, okay. So where'd the squeaks go? The squeaks weren't you. But when you lift your fingers, you're aiming at the sky. There's not a lot of aim required. When you lift your fingers, you lift your fingers. But when you drop your fingers, finger drops. Those are hard. You have to aim a finger drop. On a French horn, you can glue like dimes onto your keys, and you can just close your eyes and just wiggle your fingers. French horn players have other challenges, but finding the key is not one of them. Okay? Yaretsi, you have to aim exactly, and your fingers have to drop on a ring at the same time as covering the tone hole. And if you don't do it, if you don't squeeze into the hole as you drop your fingers in just the right way, there will be a moment when you're covering the hole, but the ring system is not quite covering that secondary hole, and it creates an acoustical impossibility. And that's where the squeak comes from. It's not a note that the clarinet wants to offer. And that's what you heard. So let me hear that again. Just that much. Think carefully about a perfect finger drop. Fabulous. Good. Now, I know you heard a little ghost of a squeak on the E. That was something different. That's your bite, and we're going to fix that next. We'll come back to that. Now let's do the next bar. D, F, D, E. Because you have another tricky double finger drop on this one as well. And on this one, you have 2 fingers that are dropping on rings. So you're not only covering the black part of the tone hole on the inside, but you're operating rings, which are closing secondary holes. So you're closing 4 holes with 2 fingers. If you think that's easy, then put down that French horn for a week and pick up a clarinet and see if it's easy. Try it. D, F, D, E. Okay, so we have gotten rid of 50% of your initial squeaks just by offering better, more precise finger drops. And trust me, those take practice. That's the reason that a lot of young flute players don't have the open hole flutes right off the bat. A lot of people want to spend a little bit of time with a plateau key that's going to just help with their finger aim. You know, a younger kid is going to just want to put their fingers down and not think so much. But clarinet players, right from birth, as soon as clarinet players hatch, they throw the pieces of eggshell off, and they're already dropping their fingers on these open tone holes and operating these ring systems. And it's serious business. You will squeak if you're not careful. Now, how about the other squeak? We need a little bit more firmness in your lower lip. You ever heard the story of the princess and the pea? There are no princesses here. We're not talking about that. But the idea, has anyone here ever been camping? Has anyone ever been camping? Anyone ever slept on an air mattress or a foam mattress? Has anyone ever tried to get a night's sleep when there was a rock or a root underneath where they were sleeping? And you want a little bit more air in your air mattress when that happens, right? And your lower lip is the same on a clarinet. Very much the same. Nobody has perfectly smooth, perfectly straight line lower teeth like a ruler. Everyone has a curved set of lower teeth and a flat reed. It's like, I've got to get my curved set of lower teeth to somehow put an even pressure on a flat reed. It's almost impossible. So we use lip pressure, like an air mattress. We firm up our lips, really rubbery. Not like a feather pillow. So I could tell, Yaretsi, excuse me, but when I heard that squeak on the attack, I knew that your facial muscles were too much like a feather pillow, not enough like a firm rubber eraser. Because what happens is the lack of symmetry in your pointy teeth is able to poke through on the reed, and it puts uneven pressure on the reed. The reed's like this, trying to vibrate, and the tooth pressure is coming like this, and it's making a tiny part of your reed go off center, off line, out of plane. It's like when you kink your dollar bill right before you're sticking it in the vending machine and you can't get your snack. It's terrible. So by firming your lower lip, you will take those bumps and pointy spots on your teeth and you'll neutralize them. And then as you put pressure on the reed, because you have to put pressure on the reed to play, you have to. You'll get an even pressure and your reed will vibrate, it'll sing. Okay, so.
Sorry to interrupt, 1 minute.
Okay, so I want you to try this. And really firm, keep your head up and firm your lower lip. Take less lip over your teeth, firm it. And I'm guessing we're gonna hear. Here we go. Stop, stop, you make me sound like a genius. One of us is a genius, it's probably you, but that worked. That was completely beautiful. And you know what? Music is fun when it goes like that. I know it was just one little tile in a bigger mosaic, but now you know that you had two kinds of squeaks going on, and I was able to hear both of them, and you were able to eliminate both of them. Boom, now you can play a lot of music without squeaking, and you're gonna enjoy that more. You with me? Yeah. So firmer lower lip, head level. Practice, look in the mirror and see how your fingers are dropping in the keys. Not too hard, bang, bang, bang. Not too soft, but kind of like octopus arms. Soft, but boneless. Okay, who's next?
All right. Thank you. Such a great job.
Thank you.
So before we have our final student, I just wanted to do a special shout out to our teachers who are here. Dana with PMP, thank you so much. And Roberto from UCMP, I see you're here as well. And I wonder, Roberto, if you might want to unmute and introduce our final student.
Hello.
Oh, hello, go right ahead.
All right, this is me, Robert Pitre, with teacher, Union City Music Project. Just a minute. I come back. Just a minute. Okay, right here. There's something wrong. This one. I got it. All right. Okay, I would like to present my student Octavio. He's going to
Octavio,
play,
bienvenido.
Are you there, Octavio?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh, good. Okay, he's going to play Octavio Martinez, good player, the easiest student of Opus 41, Moderato number 1 by Jackie Anderson. He's ready to play. Let's do it.
Okay, you got that silver tube? Is that it? Are we doing flute? Oh, beautiful. Is this in the folder, Judy? Okay, here I go.
Yes, it should be.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Send that.
Yes, I see it.
Let's do it, Octavio.
If I can, this is beautiful, Octavian. Are you going to play some of that? Just play the last line for me. The very last line. Yeah.
Right.
I want to make sure we sample all these bits. Yeah, really good, really good. All right. So I like it. You're an advancing intermediate player who's about to explode to the next level. And you're a perfect example of what I was speaking to Violet about in terms of playing the game and not stopping to repeat. I can tell that there's nothing on that page that you can't handle right now. But somehow tying it all together and creating a really cogent, ready to serve, to the restaurant patrons, ready to serve this as a meal. It's just not quite there. It's like you don't have all your sauces and everything ready at the right time, per se. So all we have to do is learn to tie this together. And one thing I would say is, don't always take breaths in the same place. Like when you're about to go up a scale and are about to play a high E, maybe practice slurring across with your air. The Irish call it linking, and I love that. They never say slurring, they say linking, because something could be slurred with the air but legato tongued, but it still has this feeling of linking and connection. And if we look at your part, let's see, I'm just toggling back, pardon me. Beginning of bar 3. So why don't you just play the first 2 beats of bar 3 for me and finish on beat 3, that G that's on beat 3. Okay? So mi, re, fa, mi, right there. Okay, good. Beautiful, actually. Good attack. Let's just go a tiny bit slower so that you can think for a minute about linking all these notes with really pure resonance. Go. Beautiful. So already, each and every one of those notes came out with a pure tone. And it's what I expected. Even though you didn't play this entire page continuously, you stopped and repeated a few times, especially when you got to the bouncy section after the repeat sign. You started starting and stopping a little more often. I know that there's nothing on this page that you can't play. And so the temptation is to stop and correct. Oh, darn, I know how to do that. Wait, let me go back. 2 seconds. Let me get that. But that's not the way to approach this. You have to do a run through without letting yourself stop even once, not at all. You have to absolutely be on the beat, beginning to end. Then if there's something you want to address, you do it like we're doing now with bar 3, with a surgical, specific excerpt that you look at. Just in the same way, when I go to my mechanic for an oil change or to get a new brake job, I might want him to look over the whole thing, but I don't want him to just willy-nilly replace my engine and then charge me for it. That is not what that is for. I'm just going to get a brake job, okay? So be efficient with your practicing and focus in on a specific thing that you want to fix, and don't distract yourself with mixing up a run-through with a specific practicing surgical repair. Because if you start to mix those up, that's when you get into problems. Okay, I'd like to hear now the last beat of bar 2. Da, 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 ta, ta. So I'd like to hear you tongue 3 times. The first note, the downbeat of bar 3, the E, and then the last note, G. And each time you tongue, it should be a very legato event that does not interrupt your tone. Okay, let me hear that. See, okay, you always take a breath between bars 2 and 3. So I bet you've never even played D to E before. And now you have to get used to that idea. I've picked a linking section that overlaps. Do it again, take your time. Da, dee, ya. You have to connect the D to E natural. Here we go. Right. Did you realize that you always take a breath in that same spot?
Yeah.
Okay, because now you've never practiced D to E, but you really have to do that. It might be nice if you can move your breaths around. In fact, sometimes when music like this is printed, it's not printed with the slur marks in the most musical places for a breath. So I broke the slur in bar 3 at the middle. I got to downbeat 3, strong beat, and then I broke the slur, sipped air, and continued off of the E and A after that E. And trust me, it's a more musical place to breathe. But the more important lesson is to breathe in different places so that an etude like this, you really get the benefit of studying all these sections. So that sounded phenomenally beautiful. And I wish you'd bring that out when you're playing it. Now, do we have time to do one more excerpt, Judy? One more section of this right after the repeat?
Yes, we've got 5 minutes, so I think so.
This section? Here's my challenge for you. You already know this and you sound beautiful. I bet you like this etude.
Yeah.
It sounds like you like it. I can tell. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to show off for my friends with this. This is going to be my party piece, but darn it, that one spot never goes quite right. All right, no more of that. You're now going to play without stopping. You have to play without correcting. I want to hear a couple wrong notes just so you don't scare me. I'm going to think you're too perfect. I literally want you to just play continuously at a slow tempo, like Mississippi, Mississippi, miss breath, da 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 dee, da 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 da. Take your sips of air where you need, but I'd like to hear 1, 2, 3 bars plus 1 note. So that forte G on line 4, last bar downbeat, that's your stopping point. Your D, right after the repeat sign, that's your starting point. I'd like you to go slowly. Mississippi, 2E, and like this. One thing, everybody, he did really beautifully. I don't want you to just feel picked on. I'm going to point this out. His internal rhythm with these mixed rhythms, 1 tongue, 3 slur, was exceptionally good. I don't always hear professionals do that correctly. They usually go da 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 da. Joanna knows what I'm talking about. Judy knows what I'm talking about. Da 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 da. You were really solid on that, so you have a good ear. Da 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 da. That was beautiful. Don't change that. Just don't stop to correct. Here we go. 3 bars plus 1 note. Slow tempo. 2. Ready. Okay, okay, so I didn't hear any stopping or correcting. That was good. I'm going to give you 1 bonus point for that alone, okay? I did hear some hesitations.
Yeah.
Did you hear them? What do those tell you? They're things that you have to work out better. One of them was like a roller issue, right? In the 3rd bar that you played, first beat, you have a difficult, is there a pinky roll that has to go on there?
The D sharp to an E.
Yeah. All right. So it sounded to me like that was actually a physically challenging thing to do. So let's focus on that for a minute. Da 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 dee da. I mean, just that much. Yes. Again, that was nice. Exactly. Okay. Now, I'm just going to remind you that the rule is with a fast bit of music like this, if a slur ends with a staccato and a weak beat that follows it, then it is clipped short. But if it is followed by a staccato on a strong beat, it stays long. And I think you're doing this correctly. So when you have short and then slur 3, da 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 da, those slurs end long, which is what you were doing. Just keep that clarity there. Okay, let's do it again. Same 3 bars, but don't even hesitate. I'd rather have you leave out a note than slow down the orchestra. Go. Okay, it's coming along really beautifully. Here's a question for you. Can you play that from memory?
Maybe.
What is that one of the harder phrases on the page?
Yeah.
Okay, so find your 3 or 4 hardest sections in the music you're learning and memorize it first. Memorize it. I've never heard this before. I'm going to play that from memory for you. I'm an idiot. I shouldn't do this. Let's see, what instrument am I going to play? Clarinet?
You have 30 seconds, Andy.
30 seconds? Okay. Well, in that case, I would play this from memory for you. Okay, I would memorize these phrases because if you're getting little hesitations, that just tells me that your mind is racing while you're playing and you're distracted. What's next? What's next? And if you memorize it, you're not going to have that problem anymore. You're not going to have little chinks in the flow of your music. And you, Octavio, are going to be the advanced superstar player that you want to be. Yeah, smile. Okay, I'm serious. You sound great. You're just ready to explode. But you need a little more disciplined approach to the music. One that's more logical. One where you separate the uninterrupted run-through test with the slow and careful and memorized surgical practicing. Okay?
Great job, Octavio. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you, Andy. That was a really, really great masterclass, and I don't know about you guys, but the last hour and a half have just flown by. So in closing, I just want to thank again Andy for being our clinician today. It's always fun hearing your stories as well as all your words of wisdom. And thank you, Shanna, for helping us to put all this together. You're an amazing leader within our El Sistema New Jersey Alliance. Thank you to Miss Dana and Mr. Robert for being fabulous teachers, and also the wonderful support we have from program directors. Melina is here from UCMP, and I know that Liz from PMP was on before. So it's a delight for us at the NJSO to be involved and be part of all of your musical journeys. So thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for, I sent Ms. Shanna a link to send out for a little survey. Students would just like to get some feedback from you. It's like a 2-minute survey, real fast, about how your experience was, so that when we do more of these, we know how to, customize and make it even better. But I hope you had a great experience today. You guys sound great. Happy practicing, and we hope to see you soon.
And I just want to say thank you to Joanna and Judy, I know, who had to leave, but thank you so much for making this happen. And of course, thank you, Andy, and everyone at NJSO that made this happen. We really appreciate the opportunity for our students to play for a musician of such high caliber. So thank you.
It's our pleasure, truly. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It takes guts to do that. And I hope you will hold on to some of these ideas. Slow, careful practicing, clean run-throughs. Don't let yourself stop. It doesn't help.